We move to Darfur, where the former governor of Central Darfur state, Adeeb Yousif, was trapped in Zalinje when conflict erupted in the country last year. Governor Yousif was involved in assisting families in need of special care during the fighting in Zalinje town and other parts of Darfur. He also coordinated activities through a non-profit called People to People to distribute help to residents in Darfur who were caught up in battle zones within residential areas as fighting between the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudan Armed Forces intensified in Darfur. Governor Adeeb Yousif is with me in the studio. Welcome, Governor Yousif.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you for making this time for me to be with you.
I know when the crisis in Sudan erupted, I have been following closely and even messaging you. There was a time you were not online for almost a month. What happened?
Yeah, in fact, when the conflict erupted in Sudan, the first target was the communication companies, where I was in Central Darfur, in particular in Zalinje. So all the communication companies were destroyed, and that is why I lost communication with everybody outside Zalinje until I came out. So it is part of the larger destruction in the city and in Darfur that goes beyond the communication companies to UN agencies, to international organizations, buildings, warehouses, offices, and then also to commercial centers, markets, universities, hospitals, and all government buildings.
Correct. When the violence erupted in April last year, many Sudanese decided to leave the country, go to Kenya, go to South Sudan, go to Central African Republic, Egypt, and Ethiopia. But you stayed back. You did not leave. Why?
Yes, because for me, I decided to remain for many reasons. A, because my father was seriously sick. B, because I wanted to help the people there. And I decided that if I want the people to live a decent life or to mitigate this conflict, I have to be with them and struggle with them. That's why from the early beginning, from April 15, at 3 o'clock p.m., we start providing some kind of assistance to the injured people at the hospitals, and also receiving some new IDPs in different parts of the city.
And talk to me about the situation you left there in Zalinje, because the town was bombed. We got reports that the town was bombed. When you were leaving Zalinje, talk to me about what you saw.
In fact, I saw everything. I saw it all. I saw it in Zalinje, and I saw it on my way throughout Darfur to Kordofan, and then up to Port Sudan. So what is happening there with the destruction that I talked about, it is not only limited to Zalinje as a capital city, but also it goes to Al Junaina in West Darfur, Niala in South Darfur, and now the conflict that is going on in Al Fashir of the capital city of North Darfur. This conflict is more of an urban conflict. And if you look keenly to how it started even in the capital city of Sudan. So it affects all the big cities in Sudan. Mm-hmm. So. And that is why the destruction was too much. In fact, the destruction of all
institutions on the ground,
yeah.
Physical infrastructure. Talk to me about the condition of people who have not been able to leave the country. I know in Sudan, bread is a necessity. People must have bread every day. People must have sugar, rice, and the rest. These items are not there in the market. Where do people get their food?
In fact, one of the greatest challenges that facing people in Darfur is how to deal with the humanitarian and their basic need. The humanitarian situation is getting worse every single day due to many reasons. The war is the first reason. The people are not able to go out to cultivate. The rainy season was not that good. All the international agencies working on humanitarian aid and so, they left once and for all. And that's what makes the humanitarian situation, very bad. We are facing shortages of food, and that it may lead to starvation. We're already in the face of malnutrition in different part of Darfur. So the humanitarian situation today is worse than ever before.
Let's talk about the fate of those who are not from Sudan, because after South Sudan separated from Sudan, a lot of South Sudanese did not return to their home country. And some of them are spread all over, including Darfur. Talk to me about the situation of South Sudanese who were trying to leave the country as fighting was, spreading across towns in Sudan.
Yeah, I think, in fact, I believe the South Sudanese, they suffered too much because they were there at the margin of the cities, if it's there in Khartoum or in Darfur or so. Some of them are at refugee camps. So when the fighting started, they have no option. They flee like other Sudanese.
Correct.
And they passed South Sudan. Some of them, they were unable to live even in South Sudan.
Yeah, some could not bear the conditions in South Sudan, and they moved to the neighboring countries.
Yeah, so I've been working now in Uganda. Many South Sudanese from Khartoum, they passed South Sudan and then they reached Uganda.
And talk to me about the social cohesion in Sudan. I mean, before the separation of Sudan and South Sudan, it was one country, and Sudanese are known for being what you will call brothers or sisters keepers. Is that still the case now in the backdrop of scarcity of food items, humanitarian crisis? Are people still caring for one another? Talk to me about that.
Yes, I think that phenomenon is still there, and it is one of the strong reason why today people are surviving. So there is mutual aid, mutual aid groups. So people, they share whatever they have. In addition to this emergency response room, there is also other initiatives that are working there. So all this is based on communal interventions. So that brotherhood or sisterhood or the friendship between and the collaboration between the communities still exists. And without that, because as I mentioned, all the international organizations, they left. So they left these local people to struggle by themselves.
And just a final question here. You left Zalinje following the Sudanese refugees wherever they are going, and you found yourself in Kampala. Talk to me about some of the activities you are doing to help these refugees depend on themselves or be self-reliant. Let's just be brief on that front.
Yeah, so as you said, we are doing that, and one thing that we are doing in Krandongo refugee camp,
Kiadongo
refugee camp.
Yes.
So we are putting a communal center. We call it Hope Multipurpose Center. We are training the refugees on income generative activities, mainly soap, among other activities, in order to rely and depend on themselves.
All right. Thank you very much, Governor Adeeb Yousif. This is an opportunity that's very rare for us here at Voice of America. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was former governor of Central Darfur State, Adeeb Yousif, who is narrating how he left Sudan and ended up helping refugees in Uganda.